Joseph Gordon-Levitt began his career as a child actor and hasn't let up since. He's given some really good performances and recently has branched off into writing, directing, and producing. Some of my favorite roles of his include Mysterious Skin, Brick, and yes, even 500 Days of Summer. Both of his parents have Jewish ancestry, and since his surname is a combination of that of his mother and his father, we're going to be doing a special double episode where we go into the history of both of them. I'm Yonah Paley, and I believe genealogy is fun. And today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Joseph Gordon-Levitt's family ancestry, learning about both the Gordons and the Levitts. Joseph Leonard's mother is named Jane Gordon. She used to work as a program guide editor for a Los Angeles-based radio station, which is actually where she met her husband, Dennis Levitt. She's also a progressive activist who ran for Congress under the Peace and Freedom Party. She and her husband are also founding members of the political Jewish group called Bend the Arc. Her parents were Michael Gordon and Elizabeth Cohn. Michael, whose birth name was Irving, was a movie director, and he was unfortunately blacklisted during the McCarthy era for being suspected of being involved in communist activities. And his career took a bit of a nosedive, although it did pick up a little bit in the end of the 1950s. And he was given an opportunity to do some more films, including one called Pillow Talk, starring Doris Day and Rock Hudson. And this was actually a financial and critical success, and helped give the director a second opportunity. Michael was the son of immigrants from the Russian Empire. Those were his parents, Paul Gordon and Eva Kunin. Paul came to America in the early 1890s, and he was one of 8 children and ran a business that manufactured paper boxes. And as we're going to see, he didn't actually start the business. He inherited it from his own father. Lewis Gordon, born sometime around 1830, Lewis came to America around the same time as his wife and children, and it appears that he didn't start having kids until fairly late in life, until around his 40s, as he was very old when he died, and the age gap between him and his wife was quite large. After arriving to America, he founded the L. Gordon Packaging Company, which existed until 1997. And I was able to find Lewis's will from 1916, where he bequeaths a large sum of money split between his wife and children, as well as the business, which he distributes to his son, Paul. And he also seems to have given a fair amount of money to various Jewish charities. I tallied up the value of Lewis's monetary assets and property, and it came out to a whopping $20,600, which translated into today's money equals over $500,000. And that doesn't even include the paper box company. So not bad for an immigrant back in 1916. Sadly, I haven't had any luck finding the ship manifests for any of the Gordons who came to America. Most of their records say that they were from Moscow, but without having any further evidence, I'm not 100% certain that this is the case. Now, I want to make a quick side note and say that if the family was from Moscow, this would make total sense, since there was an edict issued in 1891 by the Russian government that expelled a lot of Jews from Moscow. And according to the Gordon's censuses, it seems that the year they arrived was 1891. So that would be in line with a year that the family maybe was expelled from Moscow. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I was able to find the name of Lewis's father by looking at his gravestone. It shows him as being named Leib, son of Yitzchak. So we know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's great-great-great-grandfather on his Gordon line was named Yitzchak Gordon. Pretty neat, huh? And that brings us to the Levitt side of the family. Dennis Richard Levitt grew up in Los Angeles and was a news director for a radio station called KPFK-FM. And his parents were Milton Levitz and Celia Roth. As you can see, the surname wasn't always Levitt. It changed from Levitz, and as we're going to find out in just a moment, Levitz changed from something else. Milton Levitz grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and worked as a plumber. His father, Louis, was also a plumber and immigrated from the Russian Empire in 1909. From his petition for naturalization, we can see that his original Jewish name was Noteleb, and that his original surname was not Levitz, it was Yudalevich. Now, Leib Yudalevich wasn't the only one to come to America. His father, Meir, had arrived 2 years before that, and his mother and some of his siblings arrived shortly after he did, about 2 years after. According to the ship manifests, we are able to figure out what town the Yudaleviches came from, and that is the modern-day city of Kavarskas, Lithuania. Now, since I couldn't find any gravestone or death certificate for Meir Yudalevich, I was afraid that we were going to hit a dead end with that, and that would be the last name we could find on that specific line. But thankfully, his wife, Leah, when she immigrated, she listed a relative living back in the old country, which was Meir's father, Yudalevich. Now that's a fun name to say. By taking this name along with the knowledge that the family was from Kavarskas, Lithuania, I managed to find both a death record for Yudel as well as a bunch of tax and voting records of his. And it appears that he was born sometime around the 1840s, and the records list the name of his father, which take us back one further generation. That would be Joseph Gordon-Levitt's great-great-great-great-grandfather, Shmuel Yudalevich. So there you have it, the lineage of both of the actors' surnames going back to the early 1800s. And that wraps up our episode. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, I'm looking forward to bringing you more videos about famous Jews as well as tips and tricks that you can use in your own genealogy research. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.